What is up, geeks and geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady, and joining me, as always, the one and only Matty B.
No Miller Lite today, guys. Sorry, I'm drinking a glass of water. I'm in the middle of moving, so kind of taking it easy on the beer while I get things done.
They say it's best to move clear headed, and
Yeah,
now with a whole lot of beer in your system. So I applaud you there.
yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It is our Christmas episode of the Countdown City Geek Cast. As you can see, my attire got my hat that I mostly wear with my GB flight suit, and I'm wearing my favorite ugly sweater. And it just so happens to be Stranger Things, which I feel is necessary because Stranger Things, their recent season this year was pretty epic. Like that was probably one of the biggest things that happened this year. Everybody was talking about it. It was all over the world. It was just chaos and such a brilliant season that they released. We have people in the chat. Let's go. Bryce, what's going on, Bryce? Greetings and salutations to his favorite geek cast. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for stopping by. If you're in the chat, I pose this to Maddie. We have a question of the week, and it's also sort of Christmas themed. So I'm going to pose this question in the chat. I want to see all your best answers. But what is your let's see, go to Christmas movie every year? I want to see answers in the chat, and I'm also going to start with Maddie B. Let's
Yeah,
do that first. Question of
sure.
the week: what is your go-to Christmas movie? Every year during the season, you have to watch it. It doesn't feel like Christmas unless you see it. What does it go?
The Santa Claus of Tim Allen for sure, and
Ooh.
it's really not even close for me. The Santa Claus is my favorite Christmas movie. Typically, it hasn't been in my tradition this year because I'm moving right now. We didn't even put a Christmas tree up. So, but normally the day after Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving evening, we typically decorate the tree at Casa del Barker and watch the Santa Claus. So. I love it. I think it's hilarious, and yeah, that's mine.
Fantastic, fantastic. I think I've spoken about mine in the past, so this might not come as a shock to some folks. But my go-to Christmas movie by far is Home Alone 2, Escape from New York. Is it? Oh, Lost in New York. Escape from New
Yeah.
York is that Russell Kurt Russell movie. No, it should have been called Escape from New York. No, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. It's just like it was. I was at the right age when that came out. The first one was so popular, and like the last act is just hilarious. Like seeing Marv and Harry just getting pummeled with bricks from like the townhome
The flaming
rooftop,
the flaming rope.
the
I mean,
flaming robe, everything, even the birds, even the very last scene where like Marv and Harry get handcuffed, and like a pigeon flies out of Marv's coat after they're like already in cuffs, and it's like, how the hell did that get in there? But just by far, like Home Alone 2, it kind of surpasses one in that regard for me. I know it's formulaic and it's like the same beats and the same characters, but for whatever reason, for whatever reason, I just have to watch it. Bryce is in the chat, says A Christmas Story, hands down. 24 straight hours. Yep, he's that guy. I know people like that. I'm married to a woman like that. She could watch Christmas Story for the entire week if she had the chance to. Kevin Quinn's in the chat, says, "Hey guys, my Christmas movie is Ghostbusters 2." You know what? No hate from us here.
well, actually, I do. Sorry, Kevin,
Uh-oh.
but
Uh-oh.
Ghostbusters 2. We're actually going to talk about this on Wednesday. I'm gonna have a 2-minute segment. Um, Ghostbusters 2 is a New Year's Eve movie. In fact, it's an anti-Christmas movie. altogether,
Ooh.
I would say. And I have theories to back that up. But Kevin, you know what?
Ooh.
Whatever you watch during the holidays is your Christmas movie, so you love it all you want. I'm not going to hate on you for it, but it's a New Year's movie.
Let's. Hey, we got some holiday music. Perfect for the season. It's a little off. That way we don't get any copyright infringements on this stream. I feel like that's even a little too loud.
This year at Macy's, we're celebrating our 25th Christmas anniversary. Bring down the family for a free gift with purchase of one of our famous scents or fragrances. That's good, right?
Shop online. See the softer side of Sears this holiday season. Kevin says, I hope you saw our event as well. Yes, brother. I saw it. I saw the photos. Congratulations. I believe 100 pounds of food, right? That's what I believe I saw that number roaming around. So congratulations to you and the team. Fantastic event. Plenty more to come. And that's probably a great segue into not a topic, but just a reminder that this week we are celebrating the final days of our Ghostbusters toy drive. The Ghostbusters toy drive. The Ghostbusters toy drive is running through Wednesday, and we still have a few chapters that are out there collecting toys. They are raising funds for different charities, and they're also collecting food items. So, if you have the chance, if you have an opportunity, there is a pinned post on the Countdown City Geeks Facebook page, and it lists all of these states where you can find a Ghostbuster chapter, a Ghostbuster franchise near you. One of the 40 Ghostbusters chapters near you. And if you haven't supported anything and you've been wanting to, you've been telling your spouse and your kids, we need to do something good for someone else this holiday season. There's no better cause to support than the 2022 Ghostbusters Toy Drive, because every single one of these groups is just like you. They are deeply passionate and they are enthusiastic about helping out their communities, and you have an opportunity to make them a success by donating toys to their cause, to their organizations. And we're all supporting different organizations in our communities. As an example, the Ghostbusters San Antonio, we just delivered toys to the Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Texas last week, and they were ecstatic. They were just blown away. And we have one more group that we're supporting, the Child Advocates of San Antonio, the CASA organization. So we're still accepting toys this week, and we might even run another week just to make sure we get as many as we can. So if you would like to support any of these chapters, after the stream is over, and if you have questions, reach out to us. After the stream is over, go to the pinned post at the top of the Facebook page, click on the wreath with all the chapters on it, find the franchise nearest you, and find out how you can donate to them. Message them, meet them, find their drop off location. They should have all that information on their pages. And please, please, please support any of these chapters during this final week of the Ghostbusters toy drive. That would just mean the world to us. Alrighty.
Yeah.
You know what?
And there's other ways to support as well. Again, Santa came early for me. You can see I'm wearing my Ghost Heads Radio official T-shirt, and still through the end of December here, purchases of that will go towards the toy drive as well, and you can find that on our Redbubble store, the Geek Store. Countdown City Geekcast on Redbubble. So if you're a Ghostbusters fan, if you're a Ghost Heads fan, if you're on here, get the shirt, and we'll put those proceeds towards the drive, purchasing toys or a cash donation, whatever it might be.
I promised a buddy of ours that I would also help out his cause directly because he's been doing this entire campaign solo. So he deserves our appreciation and our respect. The lone Ghostbuster in the Dallas Fort Worth area is now still accepting monetary donations for the Ghostbusters toy drive. If you have an opportunity, scan the QR code or go to his page, find a link where you can donate to his specific cause. He's going to take 100% of everything donated and go purchase toys for the Toys for Tots organization. So please, please, please help out the lone Ghostbuster in North Texas doing it, doing this solo. He hasn't had a team to back him up. He hasn't had shifts to schedule or anything like that. He's been out there in the environment, in the weather, doing this by himself. So we appreciate him. Help him out for a great cause. Thank you very much to all the teams and everybody who has donated thus far. Wednesday is our final stream for Ghost Heads Radio for the Ghostbusters Toy Drive. That's our finale stream. We're kind of putting a end to the toy drive and summarizing everything. We're going to have some guests on. We're going to have some teams to speak with on how their events went. And we want to see you guys this Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Central. That's 9:30 Eastern. That's 6:30 Pacific. Me, Maddie B, and a whole bunch of other people putting a nice bow on this 2022 Ghostbusters Toy Drive. Maddie, should everybody be joining us on a Wednesday?
Oh yeah, it's going to be a fun show. We're going to have a lot of special guests. We're still working on that, but either way, the only two people you're really coming to see are me and Ted, right? I mean, come on.
I think we have somebody else that wants to join the stream. Welcome to the show, the one and only Joe Garcia. What's going on, man?
What's up, fellas? Just coming in late because just got in. I was watching the Puss in Boots screener. So me and JC saw it, and my daughter made friends with his daughter. It was very cute. She was sharing her M&Ms with my daughter.
That's all good, man. I was honestly going to give you the night off. I'm like, you know what? They're at a movie. They're having a good time. Let them take the night off, and it'll be good. Don't worry about it. But glad you're here, man. We have a great show for you guys, and I know that this is usually the first part of the show, but this is going to be a great show. We're going to be talking all about episode 4 of Willow. We're also going to be asking me what I thought about Avatar 2. Don't worry, no spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but The Way of Water, I had a chance to catch it opening night, and I have some thoughts, and I want you guys to hear my thoughts. But first, we're going to be talking all about the continuing saga that is DC Comics drama. The turmoil has not ended, and it's continuing. We had a discussion about this last week, and it just keeps going and going. We even got more information after our stream had ended because the next day, James Gunn decided to kind of try to get people caught up on what he's doing. And so we want to talk about, what is actually happening as of right now because the story is sort of evolving every week. So what's for sure, what's not for sure, what do we know, what do we not know, and just how crazy this has been. Can we first start out by saying I wish I wish that DC Comics, Warner Brothers specifically, and yes, that also now includes James Gunn. I think what the fans needed most of all was some time to just cool down, some time to relax, where there's no turmoil, there's no drama. Let's just release movies. Let's not have anything in the media sort of overshadowing releases, and we can't even get that. And before you say like, "Well, that's not our problem," or "That's not really affecting anything," it is, unfortunately. Warner Brothers Discovery, their stock today is at the lowest I think it's ever been. It's less than $10 right now, and they had an all-time high of like in the 70s, I think, a few years ago. So as of right now, it's now starting to hurt the bottom line of the company as a whole. And sure, like, we can discuss the films and how they're impacted and everything, but once you start talking about a company's stock, all bets are off and anything's on the table because you have shareholders now who are taking notice. And so all this drama and all this turmoil that's continuing is really starting to hurt the entire company moving forward. And David Lozano's in chat says, "Buy low, sell high." Yeah, it's probably a really good time to jump on WBD because there's really nowhere else to go but up. It's getting to the very bottom here, and I I can't imagine what they're dealing with right now. But let's talk about what's for sure, what's not for sure. Wonder Woman 3 has pretty much been put on hold, shelved, if you will. Patty Jenkins made a statement. Gal made a statement, and even James Gunn today made a statement saying, we haven't replaced Gal, which you can kind of make a number of inferences on what he means by that. But the movie is not moving forward. It's no longer in development. Patty said, "You know what? I'm gonna go back to Star Wars and make that movie because like I'm gonna have very little pushback there, and it's gonna be smooth sailing." So she's right now working with Lucasfilm. We do know that Henry's going to be replaced as Superman. He's already said, "I'm gone. I'm done. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun." And so he's gonna go make his Warhammer movie with Prime Video. And Ben Affleck, the only thing we know about him is that James Gunn says he's interested in directing something. So that might be a potential. Ben directs a DC movie, or Ben directs and stars in a DC movie. I'll leave that open to interpretation, but for right now, that's all that we know about Ben. The Flash, as of today, still has a release date. Blue Beetle, James Gunn says no matter what, Blue Beetle's going to get released. Aquaman 2 is still going to get released. Allegedly, the cameos that were filmed for The Flash and Aquaman are being changed or altered, possibly removed. That's just allegations at this point. We won't know until we actually see the film whether or not some of the Trinity for DC Comics has been removed. And what else am I missing? I think that's been it so far. Shazam 2 still going to get released. I haven't heard anything else being changed around Shazam 2. Reportedly, again, another rumor was that The Rock would need to make a cameo in Shazam 2. Which, let's talk another thing about Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson reportedly has removed all of his social media follows for anything related to DC Comics or WB, and that might say a lot. It's kind of being inferred now that Dwayne Johnson's future with DC Comics films is in jeopardy, or that there's no development whatsoever for any Black Adam 2 project. So that's what we know for sure today, at least the majority of that. The only other thing that is kind of in the air as of this point is on Twitter, James Gunn made a big statement. I'll read that out later after we go around the table here. But he also said on Twitter that the rumor that he's going to recast everyone except for the Suicide Squad is false. Now, which part of that is false? That he's not recasting everyone, or that he's not going to touch anybody dealing with the Suicide Squad? That's up again for interpretation. But let's go around. Maddie B, I'll start with you. What is sort of your thoughts today, a week later, with all of the other news and drama just going around with DC films?
Well, I mean, it's clear that there's definitely some bad blood amongst a few people there. I thought that the Patty Jenkins thing that come out was really weird. And if I remember correctly, I feel like James Gunn responded to that, like, we were nothing but kind to you in our meetings with you, and those sorts of things. And all of that's just, kind of just really unnecessary. I don't think anything in her letter, if I remember, even mentioned James Gunn in any way. Um, so I don't really like the way he's being right now. I'm making like a comparison to um, he's acting like him and Elon Musk are kind of acting the same right now. Like the way Elon Musk is tweeting about Twitter, um, James Gunn is tweeting kind of that same way about DC. And I don't know. I just don't know if any of it's really necessary. It's just like, hey, make your decisions and give us a product, and then we can have this type of discourse. But I don't know. I still think it's weird that the Flash is supposedly still coming out. This Aquaman movie, like, if you're not going to continue this timeline, I just don't understand what even the point of it is. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm glad that there's somebody there doing something. So I'm cool with that. But I don't know. I'll just like unnecessary drama or calling out a particular side of the fan base that hasn't been really happy with DC in the past. I just don't know if any of it's really necessary at this point in the juncture.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of run through Patty's statement. It's kind of long, so I'll kind of see what exactly there might be anything related to DC. But Joe, what about you, sir? Your thoughts since last week? There's been a lot more news coverage of DC, and James has been pretty vocal in the last 7 or 8 days. So your thoughts on the continuing DC saga?
Well, I'm just, me and Maddie are just tired of being right all the time. All we do is win.
Nobody's winning right now, Joe. Nobody's
All we do
winning.
is win, Ted, because
We're
we told
all
you,
losing. We're all
we
losing.
forecasted this
We're
and
all
told you,
losing.
but Teddy was in denial, didn't want to accept the truth.
What
And
is
now the truth
happening?
comes out, and Ted's gonna have to go back and take receipts. Go ahead and see that me and Maddie are Nostradamuses. We're going ahead forecasting the future of what's coming. And basically it's a full-on reboot, like we had
Yeah.
been saying. And I'm gonna go with what Maddie had been saying as well, because I felt the same exact way. I don't think the Flash or Aquaman 2 is gonna see the light of day. I think it's just a matter of time before they wind up scrapping those two. As far as Shazam, and they're going to go ahead and have the Blue Beetle come out. I mean, the Blue Beetle for sure. Shazam, I don't know. I'm still on the fence on that one. I mean, if they go ahead and say, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and just scrap these films and just reboot and do something new," I wouldn't be mad with the decision. Because I think that these films are still not going to be on the same timeline that the studio wants to go ahead and move forward with. I think they'd just be doing a solid for the fans, but it's not going to be a quality product. So that's my opinion. But doing the full reboot hurts, but it's necessary. And the stock falling, they knew that was going to happen, but it's all calculated because anytime you're doing a reboot, you're going to have some backlash. And of course, investors, and not only that, but the shareholders themselves are always going to have a lot of questions. But the only thing that can save DC at this point is putting out quality movies that can go ahead and compete with Marvel. And you don't have to release a ton of them. You just need to release some that are just so damn good that it's going to have people just watching them, buying movie tickets, buying the merch, renting, all that, those types of things will go ahead and help the bottom line at the end of the day. Because who doesn't want to make money, right, Maddie?
I like making money. And again, like when it comes to as her big Blue Beetle fan, I am as well. And some people are really big fans of Shazam. So what I'm gonna say isn't to disparage those characters in any way, but I don't care about the fate or if they release these movies. I hope that they do come out, but I'm just those characters don't really affect what the drama is. It's around the core Justice League members and how though that part of the films are going to move forward. So it's just clear that you can't have a half Snyderverse. Um, like I said, when a new chef comes into the kitchen, the old chef gets fired. The old chef takes his knives, and the new chef brings his knives in, and that's just how it goes. And so
Teddy wants to still follow the old chef.
well, he liked that menu, and it had some of his favorite food items. I get why people loved it and all that, but it's just very clear to me that holding on to this much longer is just kind of weird. James Gunn is doing this kind of like toxic thing right now, where it's like um, he hasn't fully broken up with with you, like, when you're in a relationship and like somebody, it's just not quite what it used to be, but they won't just tell you, they won't just break up with you. And I think he just needs to stop doing that altogether. Either stop tweeting and then make some decisions behind the scenes, or give us a product to look at so we can kind of see where you're going with this. Other than that, he just needs to chill.
Patty Jenkins, the only part that she was really sort of defensive about is that in the second or so paragraph, when there started being backlash about Wonder Woman 3 not happening, the attractive clickbait false story that it was me that killed it or walked away started to spread. This is simply not true. I never walked away. I was open to considering anything asked of me. It was my understanding there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they're having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now. So that's what she's sort of just referring to, is that because of everything, they basically told her, like, now's not a good time to make the next Wonder Woman, or we're not even sure that we're going to use Gal as the next Wonder Woman. Um, and so why sit around waiting for something to happen? Instead, she can go off and work with Lucasfilm, which is she's currently doing. Gunner says it's truly a shame that Henry Cavill isn't going to be Superman anymore. There's already rumors going around saying that he might do stuff with Marvel. Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely on the table as of now. David says I agree with Matty B. James Gunn needs to stop posting because it is weird. And then David also says, I really doubt these finished to near finished films like Shazam, Flash, etc. will be scrapped. Way too much of a loss, plus contract stuff we don't know about. Here's
Well, they said
here's
the same
what
thing
I
about
really
Batgirl.
wanted to. That's pretty true. Well, also that had a much smaller budget though because it was going to streaming. But the thing that I really wanted to avoid, and this was for the benefit of the fans, benefit of the studio, and really benefit James Gunn, was I didn't want there to be talks about a hard reboot, or even a soft reboot very soon. You want to know why? Because as a fan of other franchises and IPs, I've gone through this and I've lived through this already, and it didn't end up well for that franchise either. Some of you guys might know what I'm talking about. I'm referring to Ghostbusters. Back in 2016, or let's a few years before that, it was decided that Sony was going to reboot the universe. And sure, a reboot can work, but when you have a franchise or you have fans as passionate and as characters as beloved as like the Ghostbuster team, you really want to try and salvage what you can. And the best opportunity would be to continue on their legacy. And that doesn't mean put them in a movie. That doesn't mean like make them the stars of it. Clearly, Ghostbusters Afterlife was able to step up to the challenge of continuing on a legacy while still giving us a new story and new characters to follow. It accomplished both of those things. But once upon a time, right before the 2016 film, a guy named Paul Feig came and tried to reboot everything. And unfortunately, because of that reboot that wasn't 100% welcomed, the movie, the cast, and Paul himself and the studio like faced the sort of the consequences of going that route. And so, looking at DC films now, I didn't want that to happen again. James Gunn should never said anything about a reboot or soft reboot or anything. Maybe he was forced to because the news leaked, allegedly from Dwayne Johnson's camp. But if the decision instead had been to let's put an end chapter to everything that's happened before, and then we can do this soft reboot 2-3 years down the line, there wouldn't be this turmoil right now, and their stock wouldn't be, in the tank right now. I feel like that is something that all could have been avoided, but instead, you have to talk about removing people like Henry Cavill, Henry Cavill, sorry, when he was just in a cameo 45 days ago, like less than 2 months ago, in a cameo for the first time. And so I read something online the other day where people said like, "Oh, these fans need to stop being so entitled," and I pushed back on it. It's like, this isn't entitlement. These are decisions made by the studio that you are then taking away, or that you are changing thereafter. Like, if you aren't 100% that Henry's not going to be in another Man of Steel sequel, do not put him in a cameo. Do not put him in a suit. You need to be 100% behind your decisions as a studio, and you're shooting yourself in the foot when you are giving fans something on a screen and saying, "We're going to make a movie with him again. Everybody celebrate." There's posts all over social media from the studio social media channels, and now all of that's taken away. And fans are exhausted. Fans are exhausted, and now you have people online saying, people in our group, people from the Geekcast team saying, why should we watch any of these movies next year? Because none of it's going to matter or mean anything. And you can have a lot of folks like that. What DC needed, what Warner Brothers needed, was no turmoil, was an era of peace and just peace and quiet. Let's put out some project. Let's make some money. Let's make that business as usual, because for the last how long, 5 6 years, it's been nothing but chaos. And so Warner Brothers needs to just figure it out. And I feel like it may be just a lost cause at this point. I think this is just what we should get used to, accustomed to, is just the nonsense happening all over again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
the
if
only
you were,
reason. Oh, go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Joe.
Patty. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the only reason why I don't like to hear reboot, because technically, the Snyderverse was kind of like booting up, new characters. So I mean, we've seen a lot of good examples of it too. I just don't like the word reboot because that just means I'm gonna have another decade of origin stories about characters I know the origin to. I don't want. I don't need to see how Batman came up again in order for him to be in the universe. I don't need a origin Superman story really. I know how these characters sort of came about. Most people do who are fans. The stories really haven't changed that much. There's slight variations between different comics, but I just don't want another decade of freaking origin stories, man. I was excited, at least if the Snyderverse, because we had that glimmer of hope. Was it like a year and a half ago or so, where we thought maybe there was a chance that some of that will stay around. But I was just happy for that because at least we get to continue on to something.
Yeah.
But now we got to go through a decade of origin stories.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to have to go through a decade of origin stories. I mean, what I think that's going to happen with the DCEU is, especially with rumors of them going with a much younger incarnation of Superman, is do you think they're going to go ahead and start mimicking Young Justice and start putting those characters on the screen? Because when you look at the animated series, it's done quite well and it's a hit with the fans. Now, if they want to go ahead and kind of copy that and put it in a film aspect, that might intrigue the fans as well, because you already have an established brand that's widely known and accepted, and fans love it. Why not just go with what's working? That's
Yeah,
my
for sure.
opinion.
Yeah.
But if you already were following DC and you saw what was happening, with them, with the merger with Discovery and whatnot, you knew changes were going to happen. And I would even argue and say, prior to Cavill, leaving, finally being ousted as Superman, the stock was already in trouble. They already knew they had issues. The executives at the top, even looking at the quality of film, let's just go ahead and be honest, with Black Adam, they knew it was a hot mess, but they knew they had so much money invested in it that they couldn't just erase it and just say, you know what, we're not going to release it. They had to. But then I think they had to go ahead and make the tough decision as well and say, you know what, we have to go in another direction because this is really hurting our bottom line. So even though they are in dire straits right now, I think they're making the right moves to go ahead and kind of right the ship. It's going to hurt, but I think it's the right moves for the future of the DCEU, because they need to have a clear and concise plan of attack, as far as their story. That way they can go ahead and have these films flow together. And like Gunn was saying, they went ahead and already planned out the next 10 years. So we'll have to see what that is going to look like, But if you're a DCEU fan or a DC fan, You're just hoping they're going to go ahead and do these films justice, and that the wait is worth it.
Yeah, and bring me a Batwheels live action movie.
Why not? Hey, I was kind of disappointed that we're not going to see Batman Beyond and have a Keaton, kind of
Ah,
go ahead and pass the mantle off to one Terry McGinnis. That would have been epic. But I mean, who's to say
Batman
it won't
Beyond
happen?
would be so sick.
Yeah,
That's the movie everybody's been wanting, but it's the movie they're never going to give us. For some reason, Hollywood has projects like this.
yeah.
They're almost all in every fandom, where there's a movie that there's a 100% consensus that that's what everybody wants to see, and they will not do it.
Spider-Man 2099 for the MCU. Fans want it. They're not going to give it to them.
you never know. That's the one project I forgot to mention. I knew there was something. Is that we were gonna get Keaton, older Batman, Terry McGinnis. That project was in development. Like Wonder Woman 3, right?
I need to see another Wonder
Man of
Woman. I'll be
Steel,
honest with you, man. It was bad.
Wonder Woman 3, Man of Steel 2, um, potentially something with Ben Affleck as, Batman doing something. But the Batman Beyond project was in development. Like that was certain and now gone. Gone, gone, gone. And it's
And
I mentioned consistency. Can you imagine um Endgame? Marvel's Endgame came out in 2019. Like, and this dais, this table of geeks and the entire internet has been sort of iffy on phase 4 of Marvel. Am I wrong?
no,
Everybody's been debating like
yeah,
what's good, what's bad, and
It's been
everything.
pretty bad.
But my point being, like, since 2019, all DC had to do was put out consistent projects. You know what I mean? Like, this was Marvel arguably at its most vulnerable, and you could have been taking advantage of that by putting out projects like Man of Steel 2, like Batman Beyond, like all these other things that people you've been harping for decades. Not decades, but, years. And instead of that, now we're back to square one, and now you're trying to rebuild your franchise while Marvel's Phase 5 and Phase 6 are going to be potentially the most epic ever. And you know what's going to happen? All that's going to happen is they're going to compare Phase 5 and Phase 6 of Marvel, their Fantastic Four films, their Avengers films, their X-Men film, which is probably in there somewhere, to everything DC's doing at that time. And it's not going to be a fair fight. It's like professional football versus, junior varsity high school team. But at that point, like 20 something years of stories and materials, not 20 years, but 15 years of stories that Marvel's been building up towards isn't comparable to a rebooted universe. But that's what's going to happen because those are the sexy headlines. Like, Marvel's doing this, making billion dollar movies every chance they get, and DC's just going to be just the little stepbrother again, and it's
Yeah, I have
just
a way
sucks.
that they can compete. I have a way that they can compete. The thing that Marvel doesn't do really well is its series. Some of the series that Marvel has released, as they just haven't been very good. As far as their MCU kind of tie-ins. Their little series like WandaVision, for example, was good. Loki, good. The other series that came out after that, not so good. It was kind of hit and miss, kind of mediocre. It wasn't like, for example, She-Hulk. Maddie despised it from the get go. He made no qualms about it. He said, I hate this thing. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. He's like, okay, they got me for like 2 episodes, but then they pulled the rug out from me. I see what you're doing. And he's like, I'm done with it. But that's the quality of product that Marvel has been putting out. They got sloppy and they've gotten lazy with the series. Now, if let's say DC can go ahead and make a quality series and have it interconnect with the actual films, that would be amazing. That's how they can go ahead and beat Marvel. Make your streaming series that you're going to have, for the DC that are going to be premiering on HBO tie into the actual films, and I think that's a way that they can go ahead and compete with Marvel because fans are going to say, hey, if we want to know what's coming in this next film, we don't need to go ahead and just watch a trailer or whatnot. let's watch the series because they're going to start dropping Easter eggs, leaving breadcrumbs to what's coming next. And I think that's the way that they can compete because Marvel just doesn't really seem to be too interested in putting out real quality products when it comes to a series that's streaming on their platform. They've gotten lazy. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not the only one that's noticed it.
I love Loki
Yeah, no,
Loki is good. So is
Loki,
WandaVision.
and
yeah,
WandaVision.
Loki,
Yeah,
Loki and WandaVision were great, but you and Ted were kind of agreeing there. As much as Marvel can drop the ball, which they can't really. I mean, they're a snowball rolling down a mountain, you know. So, um, but as much as they could drop the ball, you would consider some of this Phase Four stuff to be a chance for DC would should have been able to jump in there and do stuff. And we thought we had that. Again, when we talk about Keaton being gone and Batman Beyond and this sort of thing, I don't even know what this Flash story is supposed to be anymore. They probably changed it around so much, but wasn't it supposed to be like the Flashpoint story basically?
No, they're going to
yeah,
allude to it.
a version of it. It wasn't ever going to be the exact Flashpoint paradox.
But very sourced from, right? So, and that's we were going to get a Keaton in that too, I believe.
Still
Um,
are, still are. Yeah.
yeah. So if they could just stick with something, here's a problem. DC Warner Brothers, first of all, is not Disney,
Mm.
and the machine behind it is not as well oiled. It just isn't.
Well, it doesn't have the
Um,
same funding, Maddie.
yeah, and I'm already starting to see some sensitivity from James Gunn to this fan base that makes me think that he might not be the guy. Um, he seems very sensitive on some of his responses and quick to go down that path. I don't know if he could stick it out for the long run. I'm hoping that he hops off of Twitter and he hops off of social media and he just dives into a writing room with a team of people and just crank out good products because the only thing that's going to get him out of it is a good product, and you got to
Yeah.
start there.
Derpy says, I'm sad about Batman Beyond, but it made no sense as a story, which is why it canceled. I mean, we don't really. I mean, he might be referring to something else. Um,
Maybe he means it made no sense, like in the DCEU, as far as like what were they going to do with it? You know?
could be, but I always pictured it like in the future, like in a future world that we're not there yet, like, and it would look completely different, more high tech, futuristic cars and all that, like
Basically,
much like the
like
animated series.
like Batman in like a cyberpunk world almost.
Absolutely,
Um,
for sure.
so like that setting would be great. But yeah, again, not everything has to tie in, though. You know what I mean? Like, we would be plenty fine with just a standalone Batman Beyond trilogy, and it
Well,
wouldn't
look
Yeah.
at
have
the
to.
Joker film. That didn't really tie into anything, and it was a great film on its own.
I loved it.
$1 billion. Okay, real quick. Another story that dropped today, and this is no shade at James Gunn. This is just reporting the news here. Reportedly, Todd Phillips, director and writer of the first Joker film, was begged by Warner Brothers to actually be the president of DC Films, instead of Peter and James Gunn that we have now as the co-heads of DC Films. Allegedly, they went to Todd Phillips first, and the words begged were used. They begged him to take the role, to be the executive, to lead, and he said he didn't want it. And now you can kind of see why. Like, every single thing that you say or do is going to get criticized by some aspect of the media or the fan base. David Lozano says James Gunn announcing the reboot got to piss off the investors because, yeah, those films in 2023 don't count. The move would be to just release it all on HBO Max as a gift to the fans and start from scratch. You gotta agree with that. Like, no matter what, anything, the word reboot was going to negatively impact your box office. Like, no matter what, it doesn't matter if you said a good reboot or like something else along those lines, but you for sure knew that it was going to hit your bottom line for next year's movies. It's like DC and Lucasfilm are in some type of competition for worst run studio right now. You know what? But at least Lucasfilm has, well, I guess we're talking about the TV stuff, the TV projects. They have creators that, nothing phases them. They're not going to change Nobody's telling them to do this or do that. They have full reign on what they're doing and what they're making, and so we're getting great projects coming out. Ahsoka, another season of The Mandalorian, Acolyte, which I'm very, I'm super stoked for that.
Well, we got the Mandalorian season 3, a little taste in Book of Boba. Let's be honest.
Brett McLaughlin says, I feel sorry for the next actor that plays Superman. He's going to be hated before they even begin shooting. That's why this stuff needs to wait, man. That's why you have to do it. You have to do it a certain way. You have to do it with finesse. You have to walk on eggshells. A huge IP like this that's been around for decades, since the very first Superman film, since the 70s. Uh, a franchise like this, it has to be handled with care. You cannot be abrasive with this type of stuff. And unfortunately, their stock is plummeting. It's below $10 now, which is crazy.
It's a tough sell though, Ted, because I mean, you look at Christopher Reeve, who was the OG Superman and much beloved. Those films have a cult following.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you look at Cavill and what he was able to do with the actual character. And again, the fans were just enamored with his portrayal of Superman, and then just to have him just cut completely, and you're gonna ask the fans to go cold turkey and just believe, in faith that we got the studio's got something better coming along. I think they're just tired of investing the time and the effort and the energy into these things, and then just to have them just erased. It's a tough sell.
It's horrible. It's a horrible sell. That's what it is. Hopefully, I don't even know what to say at this
Why are
point. Yeah.
superhero movies like so prone to like reboots? Like you brought up, like we were talking about Star Wars, for example. Like, could you ever see a situation where they rebooted Star Wars with Luke Skywalker as a different actor, and they went through this whole thing and they just rebooted it? Like, what is it with the superhero movies that like rebooting seems to be a trend when it's not really common in many other movies?
Does it happen often? And that's a serious question.
So
Like we kind of
like
say rebooting happens often, but like we
we
know
had the
Marvel
Nolan
hasn't
verse,
done it.
right? We had like the
See,
Nolan verse, right? Kinda. And
that's
then
true. That was really the only one
and
though.
then you went into Snyder. Well, I mean, really with Batman, we've had the Burton verse, we've had the Schumacher verse,
Oh my!
we've had the Nolan verse, we've had the Snyder verse, we've had various offshoot products, which we knew were standalone films, like the Reeves projects and things like that. But now we're rebooting into the Gunn era. Um, it just seems like I don't know many other like people who like reboot as much as like that particular franchise. Like Marvel hasn't done that. Like they kind of started the whole thing off with Iron Man. I guess you could say they tried it with Spider-Man here and there a couple of times. There's been several reboots of that.
And
Yeah,
even so, look what happened when Sony decided, let's celebrate the legacy of Spider-Man. They decided we're going to take all these guys and throw them in the
Mhm.
film. And what do you get? You get the third or fourth highest grossing movie ever in history, because you decided, let's not only respect the past, but let's celebrate the past. And we're still going to tell a new story. Like, I'm not saying James Gunn is wrong for rebooting. What I'm saying is the potential on what you could accomplish by trying to appease people who did appreciate what had happened before, and also the people that want to see something new. The potential of appeasing both of those groups is far greater than just trying to pick one. If you just say we're just going to go straight for the Snyderverse, you're going to upset the other side. And if you say we're going to do a hard reboot and we're going to replace all these characters you love, now you're upsetting the other side. But look at Sony, and they said we're not only going to tell this new story with Tom Holland as our Peter Parker and cement his legacy, but we're also going to celebrate everything that came before him. You have one of the greatest movie projects ever. The biggest, hypest movie. It's probably more hyped than Endgame. Let's be honest. Like, right? Like, I feel like
Well, it was awesome.
No Way Home had way more hype than Endgame did, and that's not a shade at Endgame. That's the power of accomplishing something like that.
yeah.
And you
Power of nostalgia.
Power nostalgia. David also says, for James Gunn, being so social media savvy, he had to have known about all the ultra aggressive Snyderverse fans that were just going to rip Gunn a new one for the Cavill firing.
Gunn is just his
Stop
own worst enemy,
fighting.
though.
Start creating. James Gunn is a Sith. Drop too many absolutes in social media. You
Yeah.
never. Only a Sith. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. Let's not forget the amazing Fantastic Four reboots. Yeah,
Oh
they
man.
did. They did try that once. But then again, that's Fox. I don't give Fox credit for anything
Man,
that's
you're not
gone
a
right.
real one unless you saw the originals on VHS way back in the day. They went straight to VHS release, and the effects and the costumes were horrid. If you remember that, you're a real one.
There you go. There you go.
But I do think we need to bring back, especially with some things with the shows coming up and everything. We haven't been in our Star Wars bag quite as much. I know we have a lot of Star Wars fans, and some things that we'd like to talk about for sure. I know you guys probably didn't dive in, but there was like some potential leaks from Ahsoka plot and some things that we could really be looking forward to. So we won't leave you out, Star Wars fans. When we come back after Christmas, we'll kind of dive into the slate of all of that as well.
Yeah.
We've been really Ghostbusters and DC heavy here the past couple of weeks, but we should get back in our Star Wars bag soon.
No, we are. We already talked to Teddy about that, and we have some plans for that coming up in the beginning of the year. So, well, we're not going to say anything, but you'll see.
Speaking of Star Wars, I had the great pleasure of interviewing one Daniel Logan. I know that's not DC related. I'll just get through this real quick. Daniel Logan, who played the youngest on-screen live-action version of Boba Fett from Episode 2, one of the best Star Wars films. Now we can say that with everything else that's come out since then. But Episode 2,
The Last Jedi?
I'm not gonna say that name. But Episode 2, Daniel Logan, we had a great conversation yesterday. He was in town with 4 other Boba Fetts. Do the math. 5, that's 5 total Boba Fetts in one place. Like that, we were center of the Star Wars universe for
Man, Ted, you should
one
have
day.
seen them pointing at each other like Spider-Man.
Oh, now you tell me. But anyways, I had a great conversation. Recorded it. Gonna post a video interview probably tomorrow. I just need to sit down and get to work on it. But appreciate Daniel Logan, who's a fantastic guy to talk with. He's also a very good friend of Jason David Frank. So we had a little bit of a chance to talk about Jason as well. And yeah, that'll come out tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Countdown to the Geeks to catch my interview with the one and only Daniel Logan. Awesome. I think we might be done with DC, but something
Yeah.
else could happen tomorrow, and then we'll be back.
Or in the next 5 minutes, we could see James Gunn tweeting out something stupid, and we'll have something to talk about.
James Gunn's going to pull an Elon Musk and put out a poll. Should I resign as head of DC Studios?
Yes or no?
Oh
Well, there's too many
no!
questions. Let me redo it.
Oh no! Listen, Warner Brothers, understand this. Understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. No news is good news. Stay out of the headlines for weeks, for months. Just stay out of the headlines and put out movies and put out series and let's just get to some normalcy. Please, for the love of God. Fans are exhausted. All fans from all sides of the DC spectrum. We're just exhausted. We we don't need any more promises, broken promises. We don't need any more broken promises. We don't need you to tell us what you're thinking about doing in 5 years. Come to us when things are concrete, when decisions are made, when contracts are signed, and let's just get back to some regular
Did
old
you see Gunn's latest tweet?
fandom. I saw the one about Ray Fisher. Is that what you're talking about?
No, he had one that came out like 8 hours ago. The latest one that he wrote,
Oh,
and
the
he put,
long one. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, no, well, not the long one. He put just one of the things Peter and I were aware of when we took the job as heads of DC Studio was a certain minority of people online that could be, well, uproarious and unkind, to say the least. Gunn, stop tweeting, man. Just stop it. He needs to stop while he's ahead. He's just like, you don't want to poke the bear because the bear might bite back. And these are the fans, the people that go to pay to see these movies. He needs to stop while he's ahead.
The elitism overall from studio heads across the board need to learn that lesson. There's a lot of them in the past have had this attitude. This goes for Star Wars and other things where it's almost like an annoyance to them that people have an opinion about their projects. It's like, dude, you're in this position, you're in that public eye, you're going to face scrutiny. Just shut up and make products and make them good, and then leave everything else alone. But I'm excited, bring back ice skates and the bat boots. Okay. It's been too long.
No, we don't need to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger say "freeze."
or the bat credit card. Never leave the game without it.
No, man, the Schumacher thing just went all crazy when he, like you said, put nipples on the actual suit.
Restore the Schumacher verse.
No.
Restore, no, but I definitely want to see the Schumacher cut of I think it was Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
The one that had Man Bat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
No, that was Batman Forever.
Batman Forever, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, I do want to see release that cut.
Release the cut.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Man Bat.
Dude, yeah. Val
Kilmer.
Kilmer.
They cut Man Bat. That's crazy, man. and that was the 90s. Like, Man Bat was huge, back in the 90s.
But yeah, no, I think we have a lot of things to be excited about. We complain sometimes, all of us do. But hey, it's almost Christmas time. We got a new year coming. We have great projects to be happy about. And just like we all know, it doesn't really matter what they release because we're all going to go pull out our wallets and go watch it anyway.
Most of us, but that number is dwindling. I mean, that number is dwindling. David Lozano with the Star Wars Stuff podcast, I should throw that in there, says another stupid James Gunn post is eventual. Shaking my head. Brett says Gunn announces Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart are the new Batman and Robin.
Oh, God.
Oof, wouldn't that be something? And David also says, wouldn't be surprised if James Gunn told me to move out of my mom's house. Honestly, shaking my head. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Again, Warner Brothers Discovery. No news is good news. Stay out of the headlines. Quit making waves. Let's just get through a few weeks of just peace and quiet. That's what the fans desperately need right now.
Yeah, what was that rumor too that came out where they're now going to go ahead and merge all the content from Discovery Plus to HBO to kind of rebrand that whole HBO Max, and it's going to be known by something else now. I kind of got a little, I guess, bit of information in regards to that about a week or two ago.
Anything they could do in that realm, we need a consolidation right now of streaming services. The biggest lie ever told was cut the cord. It's the biggest lie ever told, and I could do a whole hour on that. But we need a consolidation of these streaming services.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I have anymore. I just randomly get charged for stuff, and I have because I like to have just about everything. But now it's really racking up.
It costs the same, if not more, than what you're paying for your current cable bill, or whatever you have.
Probably
right
more.
Yeah,
I guarantee
probably
more. If you do Disney Plus, HBO Max,
Hulu, Amazon,
Amazon. I mean, you're definitely spending what you would on a cable.
Paramount, Peacock. I mean,
and before that would have been okay because we didn't have commercials, but now they're all bringing commercials into the fold too. They literally just turned it into TV.
Oh damn! You know what? We didn't even factor in Netflix. Netflix is like the most expensive right now. It's like $20+ a month.
Yeah, but talk about a fall from grace. I don't really like much of their content anymore.
No, it's not stuff that's going to be groundbreaking anymore. A lot of that stuff is now happening on the other streaming services. Netflix just got a little lazy, I think. Man,
what are you talking about?
Caught up. Netflix has gotten a little lazy. Now they're trying to go ahead and catch up. But when they had the upper hand, they chose to release some movies that just
They've always had the upper hand. They've always had the upper hand.
Not anymore.
People have been trying to say Netflix is on its way out for months, if not years. And now look what happened. Jenna Ortega is the hottest actress out there, and the Wednesday series is like the biggest thing out right now. I don't even know the numbers right now, but it's their most watched series
But
ever.
how much money are they spending? That's the thing. When you
Yeah,
go ahead and look at places like Netflix
They have
and
the
they wanna
money.
stay on top. No, they don't.
They
It's
have the
not
money.
unlimited. It's not unlimited, Ted. They have to take out huge loans. They have to pay back those investors, and sometimes, no matter how good a show is, it's operating at a loss. So at the end of the day, I'd like to see the books from Netflix to see what their bottom line looks like,
that,
because I
that's
bet you
it's
they're
definitely
operating at
it's definitely a huge problem.
Yep.
Netflix is literally suffering from being the first and the best, and they were too early into the game to realize how to make money on this stuff because subscriptions can't hold everything up. And now you're seeing these other platforms learning from everything that they did perfectly, but are able to launch with a way that they can immediately make money from day one. And Netflix has to really catch up back to that game. But again, I mean, the Wednesday, I don't like watching Wednesday. If I watch something too grumpy, I'm going to be in a bad mood. But it's getting rave reviews.
It's not
People love it.
grumpy. It is so
Uh,
good.
Stranger Things is obviously one of the biggest shows
Yeah.
ever, but that's really it.
No, it's not. Like The Crown just got released. The Crown like crushed the Emmys. Not this past one, but I think the year before. JC is gonna keep Netflix running because of all the smut TV he watches of their shows. Hope he's not watching right now, but like all those romance reality shows, JC's gonna keep Netflix open for a very long time as long as they keep putting those things out. But
What,
let's
you're gonna
see.
be watching Downtown Abbey? It's not getting that's what's gonna get you up, you know? You can get up for that?
Definitely not. But let's see. This look stock wise, Netflix had their biggest drop, one of their biggest drops ever, in April of last year, and it dropped to 209 ish. And as of right now, they're gonna close the year out around 280, 290. So they've been pretty consistent since April. Meanwhile, you have Warner Brothers Discovery, which is just on the down, and I don't know what Disney's done this year, but let's check out Disney, shall we? Oh, made a
I,
mistake.
I think I think streaming numbers are fine for Disney. I think the parks are down. Um,
Yeah.
but um, but yeah, it's just interesting. But like Netflix doesn't really have anything. For example, like to me, HBO Max is one of the best streaming services. And HBO has had such a long track record of amazing TV shows. Like HBO Max is still making money off of The Sopranos. That show came out in the '90s.
That show's still good.
It's
Still
the
good.
best show. It's the best
The
show ever.
Wire. Yep.
Yeah, they're still making money off shows from the '90s, which is just a testament to don't rush stuff out. Just make good product because people will come back and watch it. I love HBO Max. Amazon's okay. Disney Plus and HBO Max are definitely probably my two favorite streaming services as it stands, even just as a platform, the way it looks, the way it works. Um, but yeah, Netflix isn't going anywhere, but they got to figure out a way to make some damn money. Um,
Mm. I think Netflix needs to trim the fat a little bit, to be honest with you. I think if they go ahead and just get rid of a lot of things that aren't working and they just stick to the things that are working for them and kind of monetize those and make more of those types of series for the fans, they can go ahead and compete with the less is more mentality. But if they're going to go ahead and want to compete on a broader scale, trying to get these loans and write those checks, it's not the way to do it, because you're no matter how many subscribers you have, you're just not making enough of a profit to go ahead and pay off your debtors, or your lenders, should I say. So it's just not a good business model, in my opinion.
yeah,
I'm
but they're
uh,
still the king. They're still the giant.
Yeah.
And God bless them. I remember just getting the DVDs. Uh,
Oh God,
you
that
know,
was way back when.
they've been around for a minute, and they completely took Blockbuster out of business. So you know what? Actually, I hate Netflix.
Yeah,
Uh,
they took them out
was
of business, and so did the Red Box.
it
Remember
was
the Red?
Redbox.
you
I put it more on Redbox than I would Blockbuster, for sure. But look, also like I mentioned, Netflix has been pretty even for the year since April. Like they're actually on a little bit of a rise, not a big one, but a little bit. Disney, however, Disney opened at 155 at the beginning of the year, and right now they're sitting at $85 a share. They've pretty much cut their stock in half since a year ago. So they could be doing a lot better, if you ask me.
But I
Brett
think prices are
says,
going
yeah.
down
Well,
stock wise all across the board.
Netflix has kept themselves off of CNN and Fox News and Disney. Disney tried to get all political on them, and it's hurt their parks. But I think their streaming numbers are still pretty steady. I think people are still watching Disney Plus, if I remember the last time I looked at those. But Disney's got so much other stuff going on that it's hurting their stock. I think Disney Plus is probably doing pretty good.
I think what Disney does well is that they go ahead and grab the tween demographic, because they have a lot of those shows that come out, that are very, let's say, niche centric for the preteens, and they like a lot of those musicals and whatnot. I think they had one that was called Zombies, and the zombies were from outer space, and that
Oh
was one of
man.
their hits, for the preteen niche, So
Well, Disney originals have always been classics. I
yeah.
still go back and watch the Disney originals from when I was a kid. In fact, the most watched show for me on Disney Plus is Boy Meets World. I watch.
Hey,
I love Boy Meets World. It's one of my favorite shows ever. If I'm ever down or need a comfort show or just something on in the background, I'll just binge Boy Meets World while playing a game on my phone or something. So,
Yeah, it's a
um,
series. Me and my daughter just finished talking about that the other day, because we're talking about Girl Meets World and Boy
yeah.
Meets World, and she was telling me, and we're discussing how much better Boy Meets World was, and a lot of the issues that they tackled at the time were really heavy hitting stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Hey, how
real
did we get
quick,
off on this tangent?
I don't know, man.
real quick. Brett says Netflix losing the Marvel stuff hurt them a bit. When Stranger Thing ends, they'll be hurting unless they find something to replace it. Here's what they have going for them as of now, and Netflix is the best, better than anybody at seeing the potential of new series. They will take the risk that a lot of other studios are not willing to take the risk on, and history has proven that. But whenever Stranger Things ends, they still have shows like Wednesday's going to get more seasons for sure. They're doing things like Sonic Prime, that was a Netflix original. So they're getting into sort of the Sega IPs. They also have Cobra Kai, which I know is sort of also coming down to the end because these kids are getting kind of old. But I think they're trying to expand on the Cobra Kai universe, right? Well, I think there's a movie coming out that's not going to be tied to Netflix, but I still think they're trying to expand on what's it called, on that universe. But they're also the best at you know, um, coming up with all these other TV shows. Like one of the most talked about TV shows, new TV shows, was Dahmer. Everybody watched it, everybody talked about it, and Netflix is the one that's willing to take that risk, take that
Well,
chance.
they dominate true crime on streaming services. So
Absolutely.
true crime overall on Netflix is really good. I mean, they
Yep.
because their documentaries are fire, like like the staircase, and they do a really good job with that, and they keep their people around. Like when they start a series, you never really hear about them losing actors or being like DC. They keep everybody around, and they finish what they're doing.
The only difference against that is Mike Flanagan, who was the creative behind Midnight Mass and The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly House and all that stuff. He's picked up a contract with Amazon Prime, Prime Video, sorry. So they're going to actually take all of his shows off of Netflix, maybe out of pettiness, a little bit of spite there. But I talked about Henry Thomas last weekend, who about that because he's in all of Mike Flanagan's projects. But that's the only difference there. David Lozano says Netflix is a 20-year-old with all major credit cards. And this guy named Juan Carlos Chartier, he says they got Wednesday to replace Stranger Things. And if they're smart, they're going to capitalize on that series because, above all else, above being entertaining and above being extremely well written, and you have a creative like Tim Burton behind it, you can also maximize on its merchandising more than any other show. You can put out the outfits, you can put out number of merchandising options, what's it called, action figures. You could put out a whole fashion line. Like, it would sell like crazy.
Oh, I'm
You
sure
could
they
go to
will.
TikTok today and there's at least 5 to 10,000 videos of people dancing just like um the routine that Jenna Ortega herself choreographed in one of the dance sequences midway through the season. It is a massive hit. It's crazy how big that show is right now. Legacy Nerd, Daniel's in the chat saying, "Yo, what's going on, sir?"
Yo, what's
Brett
up?
says, "Love, Death, and Robots is pretty damn good." Yeah, looking through the list of shows, they do have quite a bit of stuff like I like.
Yeah, I was just doing that too, and I'm like, well, damn, actually, I do love a lot of these shows. I'm dead ass wrong. I
I
like
don't
You
watch
a lot
Netflix a
too.
lot. I'll be honest.
You.
You is
No,
massive.
I watch. I mean, my kids watch it. My wife watches it, and they're like, "Hey, check out this show," and I watch it, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm out." You know, it's like it's okay, you know, but there's not stuff that like if I lost Netflix, I wouldn't be dying.
Well, it's
I
okay.
wouldn't.
You could always get JC's password. He'll let you borrow it. He only uses it for Love Island.
Oh my. You know, no, my what is my daughter watching right now? It's some dating show out of Korea. I forgot what it's called. And they're in season 2 now, so she's been binge watching that.
Do not forget, you mentioned You, which again, massive hit. Everybody's watching that. And also, they greenlit a season 2 of Squid Game, probably the biggest breakout series of the year,
Worldwide,
in
that was the biggest
which
show ever, or like almost ever,
worldwide,
wasn't it?
worldwide, absolutely. So Squid Game and the Squid Game merchandising game is going to be huge going forward. Anything they do is going to be platinum if they sell it. T-shirts, caps, clothing, everything going forward. Action figures. Come out with a video game. You need to come out with a video game like yesterday, an online game where people play as like characters in your twisted Squid Game and just I mean, it's already kind of happening.
Man,
Look at
open
Mr.
Squid Game up to online betting, man. Make some bets. Make some money, dude.
We're not supposed to do that. It's supposed to show us, the worst parts of human behavior. We're not supposed to join in.
You're
But you
supposed to
you look
join in, have
the
fun.
biggest social media creator, Mr. Beast. Like how many videos has he done in the realm of Squid Game, putting people in those challenges and like having winners and stuff like that. Like it's huge. It's massive. Squid Game is going to be big for a number of years. And Netflix
Did
is the
you?
one.
Speaking of Mr. Beast, this guy is crazy. I was watching an interview with him, and he said he spends at no less than 10K on a thumbnail
The
That's
heck?
crazy.
because he says that's such an important thing to drive his videos. And when you're on numbers like him, if he even drops 3%, then it's a huge loss in revenue. And he will do like 4 different thumbnails for every one video and then
Man,
rotate
I
them
gotta
out to
see what
keep
his
people
thumbnails
impressed.
look like. For 10 grand, he can just pay me. I'll design it for him.
I was just about to say Joe will do it for 5. Come on, Mr. Beast, save some money
Yeah.
here. Save some money. Let Joe handle that for you, man. JC in the chat says, and don't forget the epicness of Netflix reality TV. He must not have heard of me from earlier. It's Love Is Blind, Matthew,
I love
and
that show, though.
the Circle, and the Circle. Can't forget about that. Awesome. Yeah, we did
No,
get off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Netflix,
I see what
Netflix.
he's doing with his thumbnails. All right.
But you can still do that, Joe. We believe in you, man. We believe
No,
in
it's
you.
not hard. I mean, I get what he's doing. There's a certain style to it.
Someone offered him 200 million for Mr. Beast's YouTube channel, and he turned it down. He said it was too low an offer. I can't disagree with that.
Well, somebody did I think it was Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. I saw a TikTok of him because someone brought that up to him, and he said he did an evaluation math on it, and said Mr. Beast's channel is probably worth $2.4 billion.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, it's way too low an
But
offer. He
but
should
this
have
is
laughed in his face.
what we're doing right now is what we call where I'm from fellowshipping, and it's Christmas time, and we're sitting around. We should all have some eggnog, and we're just shooting the shit. Because at least that's exciting. Because what we're going to talk about next um, is not exciting. So
Not exciting. What he's talking about, of course, is our continuing discussion on the Willow series. If you're not watching it, I would hate to discourage you by saying something like you're not missing much, but just hang around. I feel like you're not gonna be missing a whole lot, and I really want to like this show. There is something kind of little off, but let's talk about it. Willow, episode 4, The Whispers of Nakmar. You know how we do when we're talking about TV shows. We start with a summary, and it goes a little something like this. Willow attempts to save Graydon as his condition worsens in the cursed castle of Bavmorda. Borman has trouble with the door. Elora has visions of her mother's death. Jade is attacked by a ghost. Eric awakens in the abandoned Immemorial City. I think I got that wrong. And Graydon is saved by Elora, but is he in fact being controlled by some sort of darker force? A little bit of a question mark there. Is Graydon, um, is he really all there, or is there something sinister still at hand? Is he not 100% cured? That is the question. Joe, let's start with you, man. Willow, episode 4. Your thoughts on that, sir?
Better than the previous episode, but still missing something, man. I can't put my finger on quite what it is. It's just, I guess it's just the chemistry is just not there with the characters. It's not very believable, in my opinion. So the story is flawed. But you're looking at this episode. While it was better, it still had some issues. And again, you start critiquing acting, and you start critiquing storyline, pacing, and I mean, it was just kind of, to me, it was a little hot mess there. Better, but still lacking. Let's put it like that. I think I'm about ready to give up on the series and just call it a day, and just move on to something better, because we do have the Star Wars series that are on the horizon there. So I'm looking forward to better days, man. I think this is going to be the last time we talk about Willow. Moving forward, we need to find something else, because this series it's just DOA, dead on arrival.
We're halfway through. We'll find a way to power through. Brett says Willow is better than Benadryl. I mean, he's not wrong. He's
Well,
not.
I can't have Benadryl because I'm allergic, so I get blisters in my mouth. But I think
So
I
to
might
you,
rather
it's
have
not better.
Benadryl. I might
Yeah.
have Benadryl instead of watching another episode of Willow.
Maddie B, your thoughts on episode 4, man?
I found myself becoming very distracted. This is one of those shows where I put it on to try to watch it, but I found myself like in my phone a lot. Um, I, I guess,
I want to
um,
be anywhere but here.
yeah. It hasn't drawn me in. I think the comedy is there. Because the original Willow was pretty funny. I thought. I think it's missing a little bit of the silliness of the original.
It's that
Um,
chemistry.
yeah, so it's just not quite as charming
No,
as I'd like it to be. Um, I mean, there were some funny lines in there. Like um, you get one cry for every quest or something like that, or and there's some good little one-liners there. But I do not care about what's going on at all, and I'd like to. I would really love to not feel like I wasted an hour of my time. I would love to like it. And I like George Lucas a lot. And I don't want to disparage, something that's trying to be spawned off of his creations. But this thing is a steaming pile of shit so far.
it's pretty bad, man. I'm not gonna even lie.
Oh
I
man.
I agree with Daniel. I watched the Santa Clauses too, and it was awesome. Uh, but yeah, Willow, I don't know.
Legacy Nerd says, I don't know. Benadryl is nice sometimes.
Trying to
Yeah,
pull
he
it
said
through.
he skipped Willow and he watched the Santa Clauses. Sounds like I made the right choice, he says,
Yep.
Legacy Nerd. And then Brett says, I fell asleep faster with Willow though. I'm I'm going to talk and say kind of a little bit of both you guys. I'm not invested, and I wish I was invested, but I am definitely not invested. And I think part of
Yeah.
it is I know, or I feel like we can't get through this story in one season. Like we're supposed to be traveling around the world to get to save Eric, who glad we finally kind of saw him. That intrigues me a little bit on exactly where he's at. But this cast, they're very young. There's some potential there, and a lot of these folks, but I wish I was more invested in what was happening. I'm gonna blame Maddie a little bit. I was really focused on the dialogue this last watch because he's always talking about the dialogue. And so when Alora sees Graydon possessed, she yells out, "Ah, shit!" And I'm like, "Ah, that's cringy right there. I don't like that." And I blame Maddie because now I'm all focused about this stuff now.
The
Well,
way they
So
talk, man.
it's that was like a very modern dialogue line, like the scenario in which she said it. And so yeah, it's like, yeah, that comes a little bit out of nowhere, like out of left field, and it doesn't feel like it fits properly. And so yeah, that kind of, distracted me a little bit. But other than that, I felt like I felt like this was supposed to be a really good episode, and I wasn't either prepared and I wasn't invested in it. I wish I was. It felt like it could have been really cool, being in this haunted castle, or just not haunted but cursed. This is Bab Morta's old castle. I think if you're a diehard Willow fan, this is what you're looking for. Like, we're back in the castle, and this is where this happened, and this is where that happened. But for me, I'm not there yet.
but I don't know. Are there diehard? I mean, of course, there's diehard fans of everything. But even at Star Wars Celebration, I remember we're all waiting for this news. On we really want to get to the Kenobi stuff. We want to get to like the stuff that we cared about there as Star Wars and George Lucas fans. And even at Star Wars Celebration, like, is everyone excited for Willow? And there was just sort of like a tepid, yeah, but it wasn't. I don't know if anyone was really super excited about this, and maybe that's good because it's at least it didn't
I think it's
disappoint or
because of
something.
the age. I think what happened with Willow is that Willow's more geared towards, the millennials now that have parents, and that's more geared to the old people, not so much to the younger generation. And I think that they try to make Willow appeal to the younger generation, and it just misses the mark because of a poor acting, poorly written script, and of course, as you pointed out, the dialogue is just the deal killer right there. It's
Yeah,
just
it's just
a
just
hot
cringy.
stinking mess. Yeah, it's a hot
Um,
stinking mess.
But I think Disney also did themselves a little bit of a disservice here upon the release. They should have had Willow on TV playing. They should have had Willow at the forefront of Disney Plus. Like, hey, come watch this movie. Get prepared for what this universe is going to be. Maybe catch up on some of these themes and ideas before we just slam you back into this universe. Because while we've all seen it before, we think it's a cute movie. I don't remember everything about it. I think they could have had it out on TV a little bit, maybe um, had it out there on Disney Plus, maybe a free preview on Disney Plus to try to bring people in. You can watch this without a subscription or something. But I don't know. It's just kind of not hitting for me at all. And I guess we'll keep it going. I don't know how many
No,
episodes there's
I
supposed
think
to
we
be.
need to pull the trigger. This to me is
8.
a hard watch.
There's supposed to be 8 episodes. We're halfway there.
It's a hard watch, Ted. I don't know if I can get through it. I thought Halo was rough, dude. This is right up
Halo,
there with
Halo was. I would say Halo's still more rough than this, to be honest. If I'm being 100%
they're
honest.
pretty close. I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty close.
This is
But
sort of bland, but Halo made no sense. And Titans is getting there. Titans is getting to that level
yeah,
of like
hey,
no sense.
yeah. Notice we're not even talking about it. So, because I didn't watch it, but I think we're also riding a little bit of a high. Oh, I guess high fantasy has been a big theme here in the past couple of months. You had big shows like Rings, you had Game of Thrones, and just this one is just not hitting that mark. I can see why they didn't want to release it around that time. I can tell you that
There was
because
no way it would have competed, Maddie. No way.
no way. But yeah, for Disney Plus to kind of enter that high fantasy realm, and this is their entry for it, I'm a little bit disappointed um, with it. But it is what it is.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Legacy Nerd says Willow wasn't something we remembered existed in the last 30 years. We watched Batman Returns the other day. That needs to be in the discussion more of Christmas movies. I agree. I actually brought that up in a
I think it's
meeting I
definitely a
had.
Christmas movie.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
You
There's
is
even a
Die Hard a
giant
Christmas
Christmas
movie?
movie in there. Ooh, you know what's interesting is somebody posted the Bruce Willis roast from MTV like a decade ago, and I think part of his speech was Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. So it's like, what do you do when the star of the movie is kind of against the fan base in that regard? It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly constitutes a Christmas movie, other than if you watch it around that time and it gives you the nostalgia and joy, and that's something you like to watch around Christmas, then I guess that's a Christmas movie. But I don't know if, like, in my opinion, just having a Christmas tree up and a movie being obviously set towards the end of December doesn't necessarily make it a Christmas movie. But
Brett, Brett, he put a good comment up there.
Technically,
Technically,
Rambo is a Christmas movie. Very nice, very nice. Ooh, Daniel says he also said it was a Bruce Willis movie. All right, all right.
hey, and then
There
we
you
also
go.
got to mention something here. Like once we get off of the Willow talk, let's briefly talk about the Puss in Boots a little bit.
Maybe very, very little. No
Yeah,
spoilers.
no, not spoiler. I'm just
Yeah.
real quick thought.
And we're also going to plug your full review with JC coming very soon this week.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
So I kind of saw the Puss in Boots with my daughter today. Over at the Silverado. It was a a screener. So I liked the Puss in Boots the original. Because I watched it with my kids, and they loved Humpty. The character Humpty, and of course Kitty Softpaws. So coming into this movie, it kind of saw the stylization as far as the animation goes, and I thought it was really good. I like that style of animation. It's very reminiscent of the Into the Spider Verse, with that kind of reduced frame rate that gives you that staggered look, and the very stylized brush strokes and all that that's in the animation. Really well done. They did an amazing job in regards to that. Story was good. Overall, I mean, I really liked it, and I thought it was probably going to be in the running for one of the best animated films of the year. Great little film there. Great family oriented film. I mean, from the adults to the kids, everybody's going to love watching it. And I got to say, the one little character that I really like was a little dog that they show on the poster. Not going to ruin anything and say his name and all that kind of stuff. You got to watch the full review, but really good, man. Me and my daughter really enjoyed it. We came away and like we're talking about it on the ride home too, and she's like, "Yeah, it was a really good film. We both really enjoyed it from start to finish. Had some little nods here and there, and little Easter eggs. So nice touch. Really well done."
Very nice, very nice.
that's something I
And
miss out on as a man in his 30s with no kids, because these aren't movies that I go to or I go see. Um, but I feel like you have to have a kid to like really do those. Like it'd be weird if I just like if I just showed up to go watch Puss in Boots by myself. You know what I mean?
Get a Miller Light.
Yeah, but it is something I'm looking forward to in fatherhood eventually is getting back into those genres of movies because a lot of times they're very hilarious and that's what I heard about this one. That was that it was funny. It wasn't over the top, and it wasn't the best movie ever, but it's definitely worth a watch. So
It's a really good as far as family films go. When you're taking your a kid to see an animated flick, you're not there for the story so much. But this one had a really good story, and the jokes in there were really spot on. Everybody enjoyed it. There was parents laughing out loud. I even heard JC laughing out loud, and he was just sitting a couple chairs away from me, and we are both laughing. I could hear him laughing. I heard myself laugh. It was really good. I mean, if you haven't seen it before, Maddie, like if you see it on streaming or something like that, check it out. It's pretty funny. You'll like it.
I haven't seen anything from the Shrek universe since Shrek 1. I think that's maybe Shrek 2.
Oh
Uh,
man, no,
yeah,
me and my kids
you're
have
way
watched
behind,
them all.
man.
Yeah,
yeah.
dude, we've watched them all. They've watched Puss in Boots, and they know all the characters. It's something that they've grown up with, and I've watched these films with them. So it's something that we all share and we have in common. So watching this film was, just like falling right back into it, going to see an old friend. You know what to expect going in, and it was good. I enjoyed it.
Heck
um
yeah.
Fantastic, Joe. I'm glad you had a good time, man. And everybody can expect to see your full review with JC later this week, correct?
Yeah, and then we're also going to talk about his Dark Materials because Teddy and Maddie are not fans of that. So we have a
It's
platform to talk about it now.
it's not that we're not fans. It's just that they're dropping 2 episodes a week, and we're already 4 episodes behind. And it's like I
Yeah,
don't think we're gonna get caught up.
we're already more than halfway through the season at this point with the 2 episodes that dropped tonight.
Yeah,
So
so it's
yeah.
just like no, you guys take this, y'all get caught up and
Me
all
and
that
JC
stuff.
were talking about it when we're in the theater, but we didn't really want to say too much because we didn't know who was in earshot. And then JC's wife Christina's like, "Oh, what's gonna happen?" Oh, and we're like, "We can't tell you because we've
I
read the books."
I do like that model though of dropping 2 episodes. There's so many times because sometimes I like if I'm really into a show, I hate waiting a week to just get another 45 minutes. Like I like the model of dropping 2 episodes, but yeah, just there's too much going on. I can't keep up, and it's just it is what it is.
Brett's in the chat saying, by the way, I finally watched Black Adam on HBO Max.
Oh no!
It, is it better than Benadryl? Let us know if you think it's better than
I'll take the
Benadryl.
Benadryl. I'll
And
take the
Legacy Nerd says, same Maddie. Once it came out, I made sure to watch DC Super Pets. Absolutely. I also had a non-spoiler review that I had planned for tonight. So real quick, if you give me a few minutes, I'm
Here,
going to give you a non-spoiler talk
there it is. My new
of
cup, Teddy.
Avatar 2: The Way of Water. The Way of Water, which released last week. Um, I I'm gonna be extremely honest about me going in. I had no
Did you take any
expectations,
bathroom breaks? I think that's the big question.
no bathroom breaks. I'm a pro at this. I don't
You
get
wore
up to go to the
Depends. Okay,
bathroom.
I got you, dude. I
I
got
don't get up to go to the bathroom.
you. You wore Depends. Okay.
I lived through the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings movies in theatrical form. I know how to do this. This isn't my first rodeo.
Okay, so
Anyways,
you brought a little donut to sit on. Okay, gotcha.
little donut, sure. Let me do this review, man. All right, non-spoiler review: Avatar 2: The Way of Water. Real quick, my expectations going in were low. I thought to myself, James Cameron's a madman if he thinks he could create 3 movies off that first one. Like we kind of already saw what this is about. It's just gonna be formulaic. He's not gonna be able to show us anything new, and he kind of killed off a bunch of really interesting characters in the first one. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, but the first one, 15 some odd years ago, he killed a bunch of interesting people like in that first one that would have been great, for the sequels. So I thought to myself, like, this is too big of a challenge. This is too much of an obstacle. I'm happy to say I was dead wrong. James Cameron is one of the greatest filmmakers in the history of cinema. Within the first 5 minutes, again, no spoilers. Within the first 5 minutes, I am so invested in every single character that he's put on screen. Like, I mean, I'm already rooting for people. Like, that's how invested I am with this new batch of characters that he's given us. The one thing, real again, no spoilers. The one thing that I would love to kind of point out is that Cameron or whoever he has working for him as the designer of these characters or the designer of these sets and these vehicles and the technology, whoever he has doing it, whether it's him or somebody else, deserves all the awards. I think what he gets right so well is that nothing seems like it's not either possible or not feasible. Like you see so many different type of ships, rockets, spacecraft, aircrafts, boats, and then you see these designs of these creatures, and they all look extremely realistic. Like these creatures could probably exist somewhere in the world today. That's how realistic they look. They're not doing anything that's too out of the ordinary or too crazy. I think he succeeds so much in building and creating worlds that you are willing to believe in. He's so good at it, and I have no idea why, but he's so damn good at it. I saw this in IMAX. I saw this in 3D. I saw it in the exact same theater where I saw the first one. So this is just kind of going around full circle for me. And this one looked 10 times better than that first one did in IMAX 3D. I go for the sound. I go to hear the loudest, most crisp sound system in our hometown, and it sounded incredible in that theater. It's long, but it doesn't feel long. It is around a 3 hour movie, but honestly, it felt like a 2.5 hour film. And I might be getting the time a little bit wrong. All I'm trying to tell you is it goes by super quick. Um, but there's so much to love about this film. The performances are incredible. The story is incredible. There's so much heart in it. There's so much emotion in it. James Cameron's an absolute madman. He is a madman and he's a genius. I don't know how he pulled this off. I was thinking to myself, that first one is so good, you really can't separate yourself or do better than that. That much better than the first one. And I wasn't even a big fan of it. I liked it a lot and I enjoyed myself in that first movie, but I thought to myself like there's not much more you can do. Like you already took on the United States military, like what else is there left to do? Trust me, there's a lot more to do. It's
Man, you
so
gotta read
good.
some of these comments.
It's so good. You got to go check it out. James Cameron's an absolute madman, and it's already made $434 million in its first weekend. Like people were worried, like, oh, is it going to make back its budget? Is it going to make back its budget plus marketing? Like it's already done that, and then some. I
Yeah, it
don't
was
know if it'll
350,
hit.
right? 150 million, I think, is what they said it cost to make it.
Yeah, 350 to make it, and then people are trying to throw marketing costs in there, like, fans really care about marketing costs, like, nobody gives a shit about marketing costs. It's gonna make $1 billion, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Will it do it before the end of the year? Probably not, but will it do it midway through January? Probably so. I think it's gonna have legs. There's not a lot of competition for it, to be honest with you. It's pretty much riding solo until what comes out in February? I think it's Shazam 2 that comes out in February. Am I wrong? Or no, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
hopefully. Who cares?
It's Ant-Man. Ant-Man
Yeah.
comes out in February.
Oh
There's
yeah.
no other big blockbusters up until then. So like this movie's going to be making all the money. So yeah, go check it out if you haven't seen it. Full review. We'll get it done before the end of the year, I think. Once a couple of other guys go check it out. But
Yeah, I'm gonna
honestly,
go see it once I get moved in.
absolutely loved it.
Yeah, you got a lot
I,
of things to do when you get moved in, and you got to go watch a movie
yeah,
too, Maddie. So more power
yeah.
to you.
But where I just moved to, there's an Alamo Draft House just right across the way. So I'll go check it out. But I was gonna say this is actually kind of funny. Talk about the biggest blunder of all time on Avatar, because it's just been recently coming back out again with Matt Damon offering the original to star in the Jake Sully role, 10% of box office to star in the film, and he turned it down to continue doing Jason Bourne. Even just on the first movie alone, he lost $250 million. But the first one was amazing, Ted. I do want to ask you this because it won't hit any spoilers. Because
Yeah.
the first time I watched Avatar, the first time I saw it in theaters twice, and once 3D, once without 3D, because I really don't do well with 3D with my eyes, especially for 3 hours. I'll start to get a headache. But I wanted to see it because it was crazy that they had the best technology ever at the time.
Oh yeah.
It's been 15 years since that movie came out. Would you say there's a real noticeable 15 years difference in the technology this time around?
For sure. I mean, we weren't dabbling into 4K or 8K in theaters, 15 years ago. And everything is not only, super high quality, high def 4K or 8K, whatever it is in theaters nowadays, but just the technology for the special effects, like I mentioned, every creature looks like it's a practical mechanical creature. Like everything moves so naturally and it looks so realistic that any one of these things, if you would have told me, oh, that's a real sea turtle with like 6 legs in the sea, and like I would have believed you because it looks so damn good. It's just fantastic.
And
Yeah.
you kind of answered it a little bit because the first Avatar was basically just Pocahontas. I
It
mean,
was to me, yeah.
I mean, it just was. I mean, the story was Pocahontas, but there was also a heavy theme of James Cameron likes to throw these things in. It had a lot to do under themes of forestation and all these sorts of things as well. Is this one because it's way out of the water? Is there a heavy theme of protecting the oceans?
Hell yeah.
Um,
Hell's to the out. And honestly, it's quite disturbing. But disturbing to watch. It's heavy-handed. It's not there's no undertones in what you're kind of seeing. Like this is all very much a very solid um poke or a solid reference to I'm not going to say what it is, but it's clear as day that, he's against a lot of very big industries dealing with the ocean. Let's put it that way. I'll tease it in that regard, but it's very heavy-handed. It's borderline depressing to see kind of some of the things that he's putting in there because these are all very real situations and scenarios that happen in today's either fishing or other
yeah,
industries
especially
around the ocean.
after you see what was that documentary about all that? But anyways, yeah, no, that's cool. I'll definitely go check it out. I don't know if I ever need 3.5 hours of anything. Um, but I definitely will check it out because I like James a lot. Titanic, I love Titanic. I love a lot of his movies. I think he's really good at doing what he does. So I'm excited. I'm glad you liked it, and it wasn't
Loved
just
it.
blue throw up all over the screen.
No, not at all. Not only did I love it, but I take my son with me. Everybody knows AJ Nightwing who watches the show. Him and I never miss an opening night in IMAX for these blockbusters, and he was probably the most vocal member of our audience, just like cheering and yelling and screaming and throughout. We have somebody
Yeah.
who's looking to join us on the show right before we end the stream. So let's go ahead and
Okay.
see who that is behind door number one. Hey, it's JC.
Hey, what's up, JC?
I was waiting for the His Dark Materials discussion. So is that
Oh,
starting now?
Yeah, we ain't
oh
gonna have
yeah.
that.
Damn it.
They're too far behind. You missed that. They were
There you
too far
go.
behind. They said.
There you go.
Ah, no, that's okay.
It's all good. Real quick, thumbs up or thumbs down. Puss in Boots. I know you and Joe caught the advanced screening. Big thumbs up.
Yes.
Awesome.
Orange Cassidy thumbs up, and recorded a little short review with my wife and kids. So that's gonna be fun to edit. It went about as well as it does with an 8 and 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I'm gonna put that together, have that uploaded tomorrow morning on our Facebook and YouTube, and you get a reaction of us getting a little family outing with press access, which is pretty cool. To
Awesome.
see Puss in Boots, and we really enjoyed it too.
I told him you enjoyed it because I could hear you laughing. And I heard myself laughing.
Dude,
while
I saw
watching
Joe
the
laughing. I
screener.
was like, I've never seen Joe laugh in my life at a
It's
movie.
funny. That movie was funny. The jokes were pretty
It was
funny.
great. I'll say it's definitely better than the first Puss in Boots movie, and it was really awesome. It was really, really hilarious. So
Yeah.
Would you believe that Matty B has only seen 2 of the Shrek movies?
I believe it.
Really? All right.
He
all
doesn't
right.
have kids.
It doesn't surprise me, but I think Maddie would enjoy the other Shrek movies as well. Something okay. Shrek, this whole Shrek Puss in Boots universe, I think it really does fit Maddie's sense of humor.
Yeah.
Especially this recent one. There's so many like little subtle adult. I've never heard so many bleeped out
Innuendos.
cuss words in an animated movie in my life.
Are you
It's that
serious?
good. Yes.
For real, dude, it's hilarious. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and again, it's just things I miss out on about with not having kids. It's just
Yeah.
not, and it's just. But I loved the original ones. I mean, like I think they're all probably really great movies. So nothing against them.
Yeah.
I don't have any reason to watch them really.
The
You know-
humor in the movies was really
Oh, it's
well
so great.
done.
Yeah.
You know who else did that was DC's Super Pets. They actually had to bleep out words too. I'm
Yeah.
like, why is that even a thing in a children's movie? You're bleeping out curse words, but
Oh,
There's-
and we want to give a big shout out to Ryan. Ryan, you were a godsend because we used your pen, and I still have your pen
First off,
right now.
here's the shout. The shout out really goes to Angela because they got there and they handed us a little flyer to
Yeah.
fill out as press, like your initial thoughts. And I was like, shit, I didn't bring a pen. So Ryan and Angela show up, and I was like, hey, you guys have a pen? Angela immediately goes over and Ryan's shirt, just grabs a pen out of his shirt, and just hands it to me. And they took it off after the screening. I talked to him
And
briefly,
now
but
it
then
and now it's gone forever.
I filled my form out. I handed it to Joe to fill his out. And
Yeah.
so
He says,
Next
"Thanks
time
for
we go to a
sealing it."
screener, next
First
time we
of
go
all,
to a
Ryan, it's spelled
screener, I'll give you the
P-E-N.
pen back. I'll give you
Yeah.
the pen back, Ryan.
There you
Yeah.
go. Awesome.
So
Well, super glad that you gentlemen enjoyed it, and yeah, can't wait to hear more about it. Full review dropping this week on the Geekcast YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. Also, dropping my conversation with Daniel Logan, the youngest Boba Fett on screen from Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. I will drop that video tomorrow as well. My conversation with Daniel Logan, who's fantastic guy to talk to. He's awesome. And then we're gonna try and get that Black Adam review out, but we just don't have any motivation to. But
now that
Just
it's on
give me
it
the
HBO
must
Max,
be done. It
It-
must be
Kill it.
done.
No
Just keep it.
spoilers, but did you ask Daniel Logan if Boba's head was still inside of the helmet when he picked it up?
No, I did not. But
Come
you
on.
know why? Because that's been asked before, and I didn't want to ask it again.
Oh,
You know what was a funny story though? A funny story was that when he was at the premiere for Attack of the Clones, he knew that Django was going to get beheaded, and nobody else knew except for him, George Lucas, and
Mace Windu probably.
Mace Windu for sure,
Samuel L. Jackson.
and
Yeah.
then whatever few camera guys were there, because George said, I need you to pick up the helmet and kneel down and like put your head against it," like a really emotional moment. That moment where like Boba's holding the helmet of his dad, biological father. And so in the world premiere of Attack of the Clones, young Daniel Logan was actually cheering when Django got beheaded. Everybody else was like, "Oh my god!" And little Daniel Logan's like, "Yeah!" Because he knew like what was coming next. His big scene, holding the helmet, was like right after that. So he got all excited, and he actually thought he's gonna get to carry the mantle in episode 3. So he got a little disappointed when his time as Boba was done for the Star Wars universe. But he's actually done some voiceover work for some animated projects. He did the holiday Lego special for Star Wars. I think
Nice.
he actually plays Boba in that one. So he actually got to play Boba in some regards. So check out Daniel. He's got some other movie projects he's working on, but he's a great guy. He loves being a part of the Star Wars universe, and my video with him will be out tomorrow.
Hey, let's
Um,
read some of these comments, man, because Brett, he had some great comments. He had put really disappointed that there was no water bending in Avatar: The Way of Water. And where the hell was Katara? 2 out of 10. I think that right there just made Brett tear bend. So
there you go.
like what
There
I
you
did.
go.
And the other one from Legacy of Nerd was hilarious, dude.
Let's see. Legacy Nerd says, "Say Maddie, once it came out." Oh, not that one. I didn't get to see it this weekend. I woke up 30 minutes late, so I missed my window to watch it for the whole weekend. Oh,
No,
that's
that was
terrible.
the other comment that he had.
Struggle is real.
Oh,
Yeah.
someone did a 40x review of the movie. All they said, it was wet. The guy was completely soaked. David Lozano says, very short, 3 hours, 10 minutes. Somehow I agree. Yeah, it's a quick watch, man. It kind of flies by. And I know it sounds weird saying that, but I really do feel that way. So, lots going on. And don't forget, this Wednesday, you can catch the Ghostbusters Toy Drive finale stream, where the Toy Drive is coming to an end. It's been fantastic so far. Shout out to every single chapter, Ectoplasm, everybody who's been a part of this. Go to our Facebook page, click the post at the top that's pinned with the wreath, and find a chapter or franchise in your hometown or in your home state, the nearest one, and support them while there's still time. Yeah, we're gonna have some guests. We're gonna have some chapters on with us. It's gonna be a good time, and we will reveal our final totals for the 2022 Ghostbusters toy drive. 40 chapters. We didn't think we were ever going to get that high, but 40 chapters, all putting in time and work and dedicating themselves to, being a part of this campaign has been awesome. Hey, Legacy Nerd says I dropped off some toys today. Sweet, brother. Appreciate that. I'm gonna make sure you go pick them up tomorrow, man. I appreciate you. That's awesome. Brett says I'm out. Have a great night. Awesome show as always, you guys. We appreciate you, Brett. Before you go, I need to thank you, Brett, because you, sir. I know it's in here somewhere. Give me a second. Give me a second. Brett dropped some stars, so we appreciate you, sir.
Oh, definitely appreciate the love.
Trying to find out exact how much, but it's not going to show me right now.
I'm going to get to Ryan's comment here. He's asking top films of 2022. I definitely want to do that stream. Maybe we'll do that as like a special, like a New Year's stream. Kind of going over top shows and top films of 2022. And you are always more than welcome, friend, to hop on there and kind of to talk about that stuff with us too. So I think that's probably good for closer to the new year. And then we could spend this second half talking about 2023 and what we're excited for there.
I'm feeling putting that one on Patreon.
Oh, yeah. We just got to get some people to get subscribed onto that. Come on, guys, break out the wallets. It's Christmas time. All right. I need some help. By the way, buy some merch. Look at this.
There you go. Oh, Brett, yeah. Buy the merch. The link is we'll put it in the chat real quick. And Brett with 100 stars. Appreciate you, Brett.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Brett with 100 stars. You are awesome, sir. We appreciate you very much. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you and the family. Appreciate you very much. Definitely. And that'll do it. JC, what is WrestleCast talking about this week, man?
We're taking a week off because we're going to be going to AEW Dynamite in the Freeman Coliseum on Wednesday. We're going to be there. But next week, speaking of year-end stuff, we'll have our year-end awards next week. Pick who we think some of the best events were, best matches, best wrestlers, hand out the Tez Award, and whatever crazy awards we come up with every year. That's always the fun part. And then the following week after that will be right into 2023. Tommy will be hosting as we get ready for Wrestle Kingdom. And then Joe and I were talking, we're probably going to hold off a bit until the series of His Dark Materials ends. 2 episodes today just came out, and then the final 2 will be next week. So we're going to do a full season, but we're at the midway point right now through season 3, sans today's episodes. And as someone who's read the books, knew what was going on, it was pretty emotional this past episode 4. I knew it was going to happen, and it still made me teared up because it was just as emotional as when I read the book. I had my wife in tears, but I think Joe, myself, and Tina are going to be on that full season review of season 3 of His Dark Materials. And it's been an amazing show, rave reviews. And just now BBC's finally getting caught up with it. So HBO got the head start on it. So it's been amazing as a fan of the books.
Yeah, really well done. HBO has done an amazing job with that series. I mean, they've really brought it to life, and I think the fans just are, getting a really quality product. So can't say enough about HBO for what they've done.
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. Well, that's actually going to do it for the Countdown to the Geekcast. Appreciate you watching our Christmas stream. Don't forget to check back on Wednesday for the Ghost Heads radio show with me and Maddie. We can't wait. It's going to be a blast. Hope to see you there. For the Geekcast, my name is Ted, a.k.a. Steady. Joining me is the man behind the magic. You know him as Joe Garcia.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Shout out to you, Ryan. Your pen came in, and it came in handy tonight. Let's just say we needed that in a big way, so you came in clutch tonight.
The pen was mightier than Puss in Boots' sword today. Yeah.
Yes, it was. And make sure you also like, subscribe, and share. Spread the love about what we're doing here with the Countdown to the Geekcast, and also make sure you go and drop off some toys over here for the Ghostbusters toy drive. So I'll go ahead and pitch it to you guys, and you know what? I hope that everybody here on the Geekcast has a Merry Christmas and enjoys time away with the family.
Aw, appreciate that, man. You as well, Joe. We got my partner in crime, Matty B.
Hey, guys. I know it's Christmas time, and being on here and talking to you guys has got me back in the spirit. The only thing that I've been doing is packing. Everything else in my house is about done. I've been just saving this for this week so we could do the finale drive and everything. And then I'm going to be moving. But I definitely appreciate you guys and your friendship all year. And I hope you and your family have a great holidays.
Hey,
Thanks, man.
fantastic. You get me all emotional now. Way to go. Last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only JC.
Thank you for watching and listening. I know I wasn't a whole lot of episodes this year, but seeing my daughter grow and my son grow in softball and baseball respectively has been a blessing, and coaching is one of the most rewarding experiences you'll ever have in life. So seeing this team grow, I'm very proud of all of them. We're looking forward to the next year, and everyone have a safe holiday, whatever you celebrate this time of year. Be safe out there, especially with the freeze coming this weekend. So
Ooh.
You're not gonna
Everyone
say
have
you're not gonna say it in the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. Freeze.
freeze.
Oh, someone's
Yeah.
going to be
Have
a
a good one,
daddy.
guys. I'll be a dad next week. Congrats. Next
Enjoy it, man. Enjoy the ride. It's a blast.
And and JC, I'm sure we'll definitely have you back towards at least in the first quarter of next year with some of the Star Wars content that's going to be coming out. I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
definitely be seeing a little bit more of you then.
For sure. I got a lot of catching up to do too. I'm gonna take advantage of these 2 weeks while I can. So
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you to everybody for watching. Be sure to check out our merch store. Be sure to be back on Wednesday for the Ghost Heads Radio stream. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. And in case we don't see you next week, we should, but in case we don't, have a very happy new year. We love you all. Thanks again.
yep.
Peace.